3 weeks after the battle, the Galactic Council chambers hosted new peace talks. The room looked the same with its high ceiling and circular arrangement of seats, but the atmosphere was completely different. Gone was the condescension. Now, the alien representatives watched the human delegation with cautious respect and barely hidden fear. Ambassador Laura Green led the Earth team. She was an older woman with silver hair and a calm, steady voice. Unlike the previous talks, she was given the central speaking position without argument. "The Earth Defense Fleet has withdrawn to our borders," she told the assembled council. "All captured outposts have been returned to their original owners, repaired and improved. We come seeking peace as we always have." Councillor Vexthar, once so dismissive of humans, now leaned forward with careful attention. "The Council acknowledges humanity's position of strength. We are prepared to offer most generous terms." Laura smiled slightly. "We don't want special treatment. We want equal standing. The same rights and protections afforded to all council members." Head Councillor Zilvan spread his 4 arms in a gesture of acceptance. "Of course, but many questions remain. Your technology." He hesitated. "Many are afraid of what you might do next." "Fear is natural when facing the unknown," Laura said. "Perhaps some explanation will help." She activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed complex equations and energy patterns. "Humanity's breakthrough came from a different path of development," she explained. "While your civilizations mastered conventional physics, humans explored the quantum relationship between mind and matter." The display changed to show a human ship with glowing patterns flowing through its hull. "Our vessels incorporate consciousness-directed quantum fields. The minds of our crew help shape the reality around our ships." Several aliens gasped. The Xanthari ambassador's blue skin paled visibly. "This is why conventional scanning is not just dangerous but potentially catastrophic," Laura continued. "Your scanning beams interact with our quantum fields in ways that could tear holes in the fabric of reality itself." The council chamber remained silent as the implications sank in. "We propose a new treaty," Laura said. "Humanity will share some of our defensive technology in exchange for equal standing. We will also teach safe scanning methods that won't risk dimensional collapse when used on our ships." The vote was unanimous. The treaty was approved instantly. After the formal session ended, Ambassador Tella of the Linari approached Laura in a private chamber. The small purple alien seemed less afraid than curious. "May I ask a personal question, Ambassador Green?" Laura nodded. "Your ships, your capabilities." Tella hesitated. "Some say you could have destroyed us all. Why didn't you?" Laura smiled. "An old human saying is speak softly and carry a big stick. It means you don't need to use power if others know you have it." She looked out at the stars visible through the viewport. "Earth has seen enough war in its history. We wanted to prevent one, not start one. Were all your displays of power real?" Tella asked quietly. "Some of us wonder if humans exaggerated their capabilities." Laura laughed softly. "Let's just say we showed enough to make our point. Imagination filled in the rest." In the main docking bay of the council station, a different meeting was taking place. Human engineer Ryan Cooper worked with a team of alien scientists, showing them a new scanning device. "This detector uses passive observation only," Ryan explained to the nervous technicians. "It never interacts with what it's scanning, so it's completely safe to use on our ships." A young Drell scientist named Thax watched the demonstration with wide eyes. When it was successful, he asked, "Why are you sharing this with us now? You could have kept your secrets." Ryan adjusted a setting on the device and handed it to Thax. "Because isolation leads to fear, and fear leads to conflict. The point was never to win a war. It was to never have to fight one again." As humans and aliens worked side by side, a new chapter in galactic history began. The species that had been dismissed as primitive now led the way toward advanced technology that none had thought possible. And throughout the galaxy, the message spread: treat humans with respect. Their ships may not be what they seem, and their minds hold powers that even they are still discovering. 6 months after the humans walked out of peace talks, the divided Galactic Council finally made its move. 10,000 Drell warships, supported by vessels from 4 other species, formed the largest fleet ever assembled. Their target, Earth. High General Krelvor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Drell vessel Invincible. His scales gleamed with polish applied for this historic occasion. "Today we end the human problem," he announced to his officers. "Our numbers will overwhelm their tricks." The massive alien armada exited faster than light travel at the edge of the Sol system. Scanning crews worked cautiously, avoiding direct scans of any human ships they might detect. "Report," Krelvor demanded. The sensor officer looked confused. "General, we detect no defensive fleet. The system appears unguarded except for basic orbital stations around Earth." Krelvor laughed, a harsh sound. "They have fled. All their bravado, and they hide when true warriors arrive." He pointed forward. "Advance at full speed. We will make an example of their homeworld." The alien fleet moved toward Earth, weapons powered and ready. The bridge crew of the Invincible felt confident. How could humans stand against so many ships? Then it happened. Space itself seemed to fold. Where there had been nothing, suddenly human vessels appeared. Not 50 ships as intelligence had estimated, but hundreds. They emerged from what sensors could only describe as folds in space, surrounding the alien fleet. "Impossible," whispered Krelvor. The human ships moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons fired precise shots that disabled engines and weapon systems, but left life support intact. Alien vessels found their advanced targeting systems useless against hulls that seemed to shift in and out of normal space. On the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, Admiral Joe Lawson watched the battle unfold. "Signal all ships. Execute Pattern Delta. Remember, minimal casualties." The human fleet moved in complex formations that no alien tactician had ever seen. When Drell ships fired, their energy weapons passed through empty space where human vessels had been moments before. Within an hour, half the alien fleet was dead in space, their systems disabled. No ship had been destroyed, but none could fight or flee. The Invincible, Krelvor's flagship, remained operational longer than most. The general ordered all weapons to fire continuously, hoping to hit the shifting human targets through sheer volume. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "we should consider surrender." "Never," Krelvor roared. "I will ram their ships if I must." A small alarm sounded on the bridge. Security sensors showed intruders aboard. Human soldiers had somehow transported directly onto the Drell flagship despite its shields. Commander Eric Mitchell led the boarding team through the alien vessel. His squad moved efficiently, using non-lethal weapons that sent Drell soldiers into unconsciousness with a flash of blue light. "The bridge is ahead," Eric told his team through their helmet communicators. "Remember, we want the general alive." They breached the bridge doors with a focused energy pulse. Inside, High General Krelvor stood with his ceremonial blade drawn. His bridge crew lay unconscious from the stun grenades thrown by Eric's team. "Come then, human," the general hissed. "Let us settle this as warriors." Eric stepped forward but did not draw a weapon. Instead, he removed his helmet, revealing a man in his early 30s with calm blue eyes. "We're not here to kill you, General." Krelvor hesitated, confused by this unexpected move. Eric continued walking forward. "We want you to understand." "Understand what?" Krelvor demanded. "What you've awakened." Eric reached out and placed his hand on the alien's scaly forehead. The general tried to pull away but found he couldn't move. Through the contact, Eric established a mental link, a technology born from the human breakthrough in consciousness quantum mechanics. Through this connection, Krelvor experienced flashes of human history, centuries of warfare, violence beyond anything in Drell experience, but also mercy, compassion, and growth. He saw how close humans had come to destroying themselves, how they had learned from their mistakes, and how they had vowed never to exterminate another sentient species, no matter the provocation. When Eric removed his hand, the mighty Drell warrior sank to his knees. "Now you understand," Eric said quietly. "We don't want your territory. We don't want your resources. We want respect and to be left alone." Across the fleet, the Drell ships were receiving the surrender signal transmitted by their flagship. The battle for Earth was over before it truly began. On the captured Zentheri outpost, now a human forward base, Chief Science Officer Nicole Jordan worked in a laboratory filled with alien equipment. She was a tall woman with dark brown hair pulled back in a tight bun. For 3 weeks, she had been studying the alien scanning technology. Today, she had made a breakthrough. "Captain Russell," she called out, excitement in her voice. "I think I've figured it out." Captain Steve Russell entered the lab. He looked tired. Running the outpost while preparing for the next phase of operations was exhausting work. "What did you find?" he asked. Nicole pointed to a disassembled alien scanner on her workbench. "It's not just the quantum displacement field that causes their scanners to fail. It's something more fundamental." She activated a holographic display showing complex energy patterns. Alien scanners don't just observe. They interact with whatever they're scanning at a quantum level. Russell frowned, trying to understand. "Like our scanners?" "No," Nicole shook her head. "Our scanners are passive. We detect radiation that naturally comes from objects. Their scanners send out energy that touches what they scan and brings back information. And when they touch our ships..." "Exactly," Nicole said. "When their scanning beams hit our phase-shifted hulls, the interaction creates a quantum cascade. The energy rebounds through their scanner and into the operator." She pulled up another display showing a simulation of the process. "It's like trying to shine a flashlight on a mirror, but instead of just bouncing back, the light multiplies 1,000 times and burns out the flashlight. And whoever's holding it." Russell nodded slowly, understanding now why alien technicians refused to scan human ships even under orders. "Can you demonstrate this?" An hour later, Russell and Nicole stood in a sealed testing chamber with a captured Maverian technician named Grell. The thin, gray alien looked nervous but curious. "We want to show you why scanning our technology is dangerous," Nicole explained. She placed a small piece of human hull material in a clear box. "This is from one of our ships." She handed Grell a standard Maverian scanning device. "Try to scan the sample." The alien hesitated, looking at Russell. "It's safe," Russell assured him. "The sample is small and contained. The effect will be minimal." Grell pointed the scanner at the box and activated it. For a second, nothing happened. Then the scanning beam hit the hull material and seemed to bend. A small distortion appeared in the air between the scanner and the box. The scanner began to vibrate and grow hot. Grell dropped it with a cry of alarm. The scanner hit the floor and cracked open. A miniature spatial distortion hovered above it for a moment before disappearing. "That was just a tiny piece," Nicole said quietly. "Imagine scanning an entire ship." The Maverian's 4 eyes were wide with fear. "It would tear holes in reality itself," he whispered. Word of this demonstration spread quickly among the alien prisoners. Soon, technical crews across the galaxy were refusing scanning orders, even under threat of punishment. The story grew with each telling. Human ships could break the laws of physics, could distort spacetime, could reach into your mind through a scanner. In the command center, Captain Russell sat with his senior officers reviewing reports. "The information campaign is working," said Communications Officer Ben Wright. "Fear of our technology is spreading faster than we could have hoped." "Good," Russell said. "But we need to be ready for what comes next." The Drell still planned to attack Earth. Chief Engineer Kelly Adams looked up from her tablet. Admiral Lawson's last message mentioned the Drell don't know about the consciousness connection. Is that our final advantage? Russell nodded gravely. The aliens mastered conventional physics, but they missed something crucial that we discovered: the relationship between consciousness and quantum mechanics. How so? Asked Security Chief Maya Patel. Our ships don't just use technology, Russell explained. They use the mental patterns of their crew to stabilize the quantum fields. That's why aliens can't reproduce our technology, even if they stole it. Their minds work differently. Nickel Jordan smiled. The oldest human secret, the power of the mind to affect reality, turned out to be the scientific breakthrough that put us ahead of the entire galaxy. The officers fell silent, contemplating this. They all knew the next phase would be the most dangerous yet, but for the first time in human history, Earth had a decisive advantage over its enemies. The great chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with angry voices. Representatives from 200 species sat in rising tiers around a central speaking platform. The emergency session had been going for 6 hours, with no resolution in sight. "We must negotiate with the humans," shouted Ambassador Tella of the Lanari. The small, slender alien had soft purple skin and large, kind eyes. The Lanari were known for their peaceful ways. Reports show they have been careful to minimize casualties in all their attacks. High General Krelvor of the Drell stomped to the center platform. His green scales gleamed under the bright lights, and his clawed hands gripped the edges of the podium. "Negotiate with primitives who attack us," he roared. "The only language these humans understand is force." The chamber erupted again, half the representatives shouting support for war, the other half arguing for peace. The head counselor, an ancient Maverian named Zilvan, raised all 4 of his arms for silence. Slowly, the noise died down. "The council has never faced such a situation," Zilvan said, his voice thin but carrying to all corners of the room. "A species we thought primitive has technology we cannot understand or counter." Krelvor snorted. "They have tricks, not technology. I have prepared a battle plan." He activated a holographic display showing thousands of Drell warships moving toward Earth. "We will crush them with overwhelming numbers." Ambassador Tella stepped forward. "Before we commit to such madness, consider the facts. In 2 months of conflict, the humans have not killed a single civilian. They disable rather than destroy. These are not the actions of a bloodthirsty enemy. They are toying with us," Krelvor shouted. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. Red emergency lights flashed. The Council headquarters was on Centauri Prime, the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. No unauthorized ship could approach within 1,000,000 kilometers. Yet on the main view screen, a single human vessel appeared directly above the Council building. It had somehow bypassed all defensive systems. "Impossible," whispered Zilvan. A human face appeared on the screen. It was a man in his 30s with dark skin and serious eyes. He wore the uniform of Earth's defense fleet with Lieutenant Commander insignia. "Greetings, Galactic Council. I am Lieutenant Commander Frank Porter of the U.S. Defiant. I bring a message from Earth." Krelvor was shouting orders into his communicator, demanding that defense forces shoot down the human ship. But the security chief beside him looked terrified. "Sir, we can't lock weapons. The targeting systems go offline whenever they try." Porter continued, unaware or unconcerned about the chaos he had caused. "We could have ended this already. Your defensive grid has 27 critical vulnerabilities. We've transmitted details of 3 as proof." He paused. "Reconsider your position." The transmission ended. The human ship vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. The council chamber erupted into panic. Representatives shouted questions, demands, and threats. Some were already rushing to evacuation ships. Security officers checked their systems with growing horror. The humans had indeed transmitted data showing 3 major flaws in Centauri Prime's defenses, flaws that would allow an attacker to disable the entire planet's shields in minutes. Worse, their technical experts confirmed the vulnerabilities were real. Counselor Vexthar, who had once mocked the humans at the peace talks, sat in stunned silence. "They could have destroyed us at any time," he said quietly. "Why didn't they?" On the other side of the chamber, the Drell representatives huddled with their military advisors. They still pushed for immediate attack, But the Zintheri, once equally warlike, were now speaking of reopening negotiations. The Council was breaking apart. In orbit above Centauri Prime, Frank Porter sent an encrypted message back to Earth. Message delivered. Reaction as expected. Complete confusion. Admiral Lawson's reply came seconds later. Well done, Commander. Return to base. Phase 2 is now in effect. As Porter set course for the rendezvous point, he looked back at the glittering planet below. He hoped they had made their point without bloodshed. But if the Drell went ahead with their planned attack on Earth, things would get much worse. Sometimes the only way to prevent a war was to show your enemy exactly why they didn't want to fight one. 2 months after the first attack, the Galactic Council faced a crisis unlike any in its 1,000-year history. Human ships had struck 15 more outposts. Each time, the pattern was the same. Ships appearing without warning. Weapons that disabled rather than destroyed. Scanning equipment failing catastrophically. In the Great Hall of the Council's Science Division, head researcher Milo pounded his fist on the table. The Drell scientists' scales were dull with exhaustion. "It is impossible," he shouted. "We cannot develop countermeasures without studying their technology, but we cannot study their technology without our scanning equipment." Around the table sat the brightest scientific minds from 7 species. None had answers. "Every attempt to analyze a captured human weapon has ended in failure," said a Maverian scientist. "3 of my colleagues are dead from feedback surges. The humans call it quantum displacement field technology," added a Zintheri researcher. "But that's all we know. We can't even begin to understand how it works." Meanwhile, in a bar called the Stellar Drift on a neutral trading hub, conversations about humans grew more frequent. The dimly lit establishment was filled with merchants, mercenaries, and travelers from dozens of worlds. Draz, an alien mechanic with 6 arms and tough gray skin, sat in a dark corner. His large ears twitched as he listened to 2 humans at a nearby table. They wore civilian clothes, but their posture marked them as military. "The quantum entanglement warfare module worked better than expected," said the male human, Jack Miller. He was a big man with a shaved head. His companion, Diane Wong, nodded. She had short black hair and moved her hands excitedly as she spoke. "The dimensional inversion shields, too. When that Drell cruiser tried to lock weapons on us, their targeting system fried itself." "Keep your voice down," Jack warned, looking around. But Draz had heard enough. He slipped out of the bar and made 3 calls that night. By morning, he had sold this information for enough credits to buy a small moon. The story spread quickly. In ship hangars, trading posts, and alien homes across the galaxy, people whispered about the human paradox, a species that seemed primitive but possessed technology that defied understanding. On the pirate vessel Bloodfang, Captain Krastar of the Kilari studied a star chart. The reptilian pirate had sharp teeth and eyes that glowed red in the dim light. "We avoid this entire sector," he told his crew, pointing to the region near Earth. "No raids there." "But Captain," protested his first mate, "that area has the richest human colonies. Easy targets." Krastar grabbed the officer by the throat. "Have you not heard? 3 Kilari raiding parties disappeared last month. Their ships gone without a trace." He released his grip. "Whatever the humans have become, I want no part of it." In the military headquarters of the Drell Empire, High General Krelvor reviewed battle plans with his staff. Unlike many, he still believed the humans could be defeated. "Their victories have made them overconfident," he said, his voice deep and rasping. "Their ships may have strange defenses, but they are few in number. We will overwhelm them." His chief strategist looked doubtful. "But General, without the ability to scan their vessels." "We don't need to scan them to destroy them," Krelvor snapped. "We have 10,000 warships. They have perhaps 50 of these new vessels. The math is simple." Back on Earth, Admiral Lawson met with the fleet commanders in a secure underground facility. Holographic displays showed the locations of human forces across the galaxy. "The Council is divided and confused," he told the assembled officers. Just as we planned. Now we prepare for Phase 2. Captain Olivia Barnes raised her hand. Sir, the Drell are gathering a massive fleet. Intelligence suggests they plan a direct assault on Earth. Lawson smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. Good. Let them come. It's time they learned what happens when you corner a species that has spent its entire history perfecting the art of war. Around the table, the human commanders nodded grimly. None of them had wanted this conflict, but all were prepared to end it decisively. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Many representatives laughed about the humans' dramatic exit from the peace talks. They'll be back, said Councillor Vexthar, lounging in his seat. Humans need our protection. They cannot survive without us. The Drell ambassador hissed in agreement. Primitive species always make big shows of pride before they beg for help. Suddenly, a young Xanthari aide burst into the chamber. His blue face had turned almost white with fear. Counselors, the Outpost 7 is under attack. The room fell silent. Outpost 7 was one of the largest Xanthari military bases, home to over 10,000 personnel and dozens of warships. Who would dare? Asked the Xanthari ambassador. Humans, the aide replied, his voice shaking. 3 human vessels appeared near the outpost. Our sensors didn't detect them until they were already firing. No one laughed now. At Outpost 7, Captain Steve Russell stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant. Through the view screen, he watched as precision strikes disabled the outpost's weapons systems. His 2 support ships, the Valor and the Liberty, moved in perfect formation. Target their communication array, he ordered. Non-lethal force only. Remember our orders. The weapons officer nodded. Yes, sir. Targeting systems locked on. The Defiant fired once, a beam of concentrated energy, invisible to the naked eye but devastatingly effective, cut through the outpost's main communication dish. Sir, called out the sensor officer, they're trying to scan us. Russell smiled grimly. Let them try. On the outpost, Senior Weapons Officer Greel frantically worked the scanning systems. I need to know what kind of ships these are, he shouted to his team. He activated the military-grade deep scanner. For a moment, it seemed to work. Data flowed across his screen, showing the outline of a human vessel. Then the screen cracked. Sparks flew from the console. Greel screamed as a surge of energy traveled up his arms and into his brain. He collapsed, smoke rising from his uniform. 3 more technicians tried to scan the human ships. Each attempt ended in equipment failure or injury. Word spread quickly throughout the outpost. Do not attempt to scan the enemy vessels. Within 3 hours, the outpost was under human control. Captain Russell had led a boarding party himself, meeting surprisingly little resistance. Most of the alien forces had surrendered after seeing their weapons had little effect on the human boarding teams. Commander Thex, the highest-ranking Xanthari officer still conscious, was brought to the outpost's command center. The proud alien warrior looked confused and afraid. How did you do this? He asked Russell. How did your ships approach without detection? Russell didn't answer. Instead, he turned to Chief Engineer Kelly Adams. Explain to the commander why scanning our ships is a bad idea. Adams stepped forward. She was a small woman with red hair and bright green eyes, but her presence was commanding. Your scanning technology works by sending out energy beams that bounce back with information, she explained to Thex. Our ships incorporate dimensional folding. When your scans hit our hulls, they don't bounce back. They loop through folded space and return with exponentially increased energy. Thex's eyes widened in shock. But that's impossible. No species has mastered dimensional folding. Humans have, Adams said simply. That's why your scanners explode. That's why your sensors can't detect our approach. And that's just one of our new technologies. Russell activated the outpost's communication system, broadcasting on all Galactic Council frequencies. This is Captain Steve Russell of Earth's Defense Fleet. We have taken control of Outpost 7 with minimal casualties. We could have destroyed it completely, but chose not to. This is just a demonstration." He paused. "The Council mistook our restraint for weakness. That was a serious error." Back in the Council chambers, the representatives watched the broadcast in stunned silence. The human threat they had dismissed was now terrifyingly real. "How is this possible?" whispered the Maverian counselor. "They were nothing 3 years ago." The Drell ambassador's scales had paled to a light green. "What have we awakened?" he asked, to no one in particular. 3 weeks after the humans walked out of the peace talks, senior technician Zorlak sat at his monitoring station. The Maverian's long fingers danced over the control panel. His skin was pale gray and his 4 eyes blinked one after another in a nervous pattern. "I'm picking up strange energy readings from the Earth sector," he said to no one in particular. The monitoring station orbited a gas giant at the edge of Council space. It was designed to track all ships moving through this busy sector. Zorlak had worked here for 12 years and knew every type of engine signature. "This doesn't match anything in our database," he muttered, his thin lips pulling into a frown. He adjusted the long-range scanners to focus on the anomaly. The readings grew stronger. According to his instruments, several large objects were moving toward Council space at impossible speeds. The door to the monitoring room slid open, and Chief Science Officer Eliara entered. The female Zinthuri moved with grace despite her heavy frame. Her blue skin had dark spots that showed her advanced age and high rank. "What have you found, technician?" she asked, her translator making her complex speech patterns understandable. "Unknown vessels approaching from Earth direction," Zorlak replied. "They're moving faster than any human ship we've ever recorded." Eliara leaned over his shoulder to study the readings. Her eyes widened. "Initiate a full spectrum scan." Zorlak pressed several buttons, directing the station's most powerful scanners toward the approaching ships. Suddenly, his console sparked and smoke rose from the panel. He jumped back with a cry of pain as the controls burned his fingers. "Shut it down," Eliara shouted. "Shut down all scanning systems now." Other technicians rushed to obey, pulling emergency levers and cutting power to the scanning arrays. The room fell into dim emergency lighting. "What happened?" Zorlak asked, nursing his injured hand. Eliara's voice was quiet but filled with fear. "The humans. It's the humans." "But how could they cause our scanners to fail like that? They don't have that kind of technology." The chief science officer looked around the room, making sure only trusted staff could hear. "There have been rumors, reports from the outer systems about human ships. Those who try to scan them suffer equipment failures, sometimes worse." "Worse?" Zorlak asked. "A Drell science vessel attempted a deep scan of a human scout ship last month. Their scanning array didn't just fail. It exploded. Half the ship was destroyed." The technicians looked at each other with growing worry. The Council had always treated humans as barely spacefaring primitives. This did not fit that picture. Meanwhile, orbiting Earth, engineer Lisa Howard made final adjustments to the U.S. Defiant's new shielding system. The massive ship hung in space above her planet, its dark hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "Quantum displacement field is at 98% efficiency," she reported. "We're ready for final testing." Captain Steve Russell nodded. He stood on the bridge of Earth's new flagship, looking at status reports on multiple screens. At 42, Russell had spent half his life in space, but nothing compared to this assignment. "Good work, Lisa," he said. "Admiral Lawson will be pleased." The ship's communication officer, Ben Wright, turned from his station. "Captain, I have a priority message from Earth Command. President Martinez has authorized Operation First Strike." Russell's face grew serious. "So it begins." In the President's office on Earth, Sam Martinez signed the final authorization with a heavy heart. The document glowed on her desk screen. "Are we really ready for this, Admiral?" she asked the man standing before her. Admiral Lawson nodded. "The Council gave us no choice, Madam President. They won't respect us until we show them what we can do." And these new ships of ours, they'll really be undetectable. Better than that, Lawson said with pride. Any attempt to scan them will backfire spectacularly. The aliens are about to learn why making enemies of humans was their biggest mistake. As the first strike fleet prepared to depart Earth orbit, alien technicians across the galaxy began hearing whispers about human ships that couldn't be scanned. Most dismissed these stories as rumors. They would learn the truth soon enough. Captain Olivia Barnes stood before the Galactic Council with her arms crossed. The large chamber was filled with alien representatives from across the galaxy. The air smelled strange, a mix of different atmospheres to keep all species comfortable. This was the 5th day of talks, and her patience was running out. The human request for protection against Hillary raids is denied, said Counselor Vexthar, his blue skin shimmering under the bright lights. Your species is still too new to galactic politics to deserve special treatment. Olivia took a deep breath. She was the top officer of Earth's newest and most advanced ship. The past week had been nothing but dismissals and mockery. The aliens of the Council treated humans like children, despite how quickly Earth had caught up with alien technology. The Kilari pirates have attacked 6 human colonies, Olivia said. They have killed hundreds of our people. If the Council won't help us, we will defend ourselves. The Zinthari representative laughed, a strange chirping sound. With what? Your ships are barely able to travel between stars. The Kilari would crush you. Beside Olivia, Commander Pete Garcia whispered, They have no idea what we've built. Olivia nodded slightly. Earth had kept its newest ships and weapons secret for exactly this reason. The Maverian counselor waved a long, thin arm. We have more important matters to discuss than human problems. Perhaps in another 50 years, your species will be ready for equal trade rights. The Drell representative, a reptilian being with sharp teeth, leaned forward. You should be grateful to even have a seat at this table, human. Many species wait centuries for this honor. Something snapped inside Olivia. She slammed her fist on the table so hard that the water glasses jumped. The chamber went silent. You mistake our patience for weakness, Olivia said, her voice low and dangerous. Humanity did not come here to beg. We came to work together as equals. If you can't see that, then these talks are over. She turned to the human delegation. 12 men and women in the dark blue uniforms of Earth's defense fleet. We're leaving. Captain Barnes, the head counselor, called out, If you leave now, there will be consequences. Olivia looked back, her face calm but her eyes hard. There certainly will be, just not the ones you're expecting. The human delegation walked out of the council chambers in a straight line. No one had ever left peace talks like this before. As the doors closed behind them, the aliens began to shout and argue. In the hallway, Commander Garcia looked worried. Captain, are you sure about this? The Admiral. We'll understand completely, Olivia finished. They'd given us no choice. 2 hours later, aboard the human transport ship, Olivia sent her report to Earth. The quantum communicator connected instantly, despite being light years away. Admiral Joe Lawson's face appeared on the screen. He was an older man with gray hair and a scar above his right eye. They denied everything, sir, Olivia reported. Protection, trade rights, even basic respect. Lawson nodded slowly. I had hoped for better, but we prepared for this. Return to Earth immediately, Captain. What about the Kilari? Without council protection, our outer colonies are at risk. Don't worry about the pirates, Lawson said. Once we activate Protocol Thunderclap, the Kilari will be the least of the galaxy's concerns. Protocol Thunderclap. Sir, you mean we're really going to? The council has made their choice. Lawson cut her off. Now they'll learn what happens when you corner humanity. He paused. How much do they know about our new ships? Nothing, sir. They still think we're using the old fusion drives and basic shields. A small smile appeared on the Admiral's face. Good. Very good. He straightened in his chair. Captain Barnes, Upon your return, you'll take command of the U.S. Defiant. I think the Council needs a demonstration of what humans are truly capable of." "Understood, sir," Olivia replied. As the communication ended, she looked out at the stars through the viewport. The peace talks had failed, but perhaps that was inevitable. The galaxy was about to discover why it was a bad idea to underestimate humans.